everyone. Today I have a core workout for you that's going to take you 20 minutes to complete, more like 22 minutes when you add in rest. The focus is mostly core, but upper body will be used as well. For equipment, you're going to need a stepper or a step bench, so I'll show you what I'm working with here. I have just the little stepper, but if you have the longer bench, that works great too. You're also going to need a set of heavy weights. So I'm using two 20-pound dumbbells. You really only need one, but we're going to use the second one as an anchor between our feet for a couple of the exercises. Most of the exercises are done for 60 seconds, with a couple exceptions. There are two that you will do for just 30 seconds. We're going heavy today, so it's not about speed. The goal is good form, good quality reps, and pushing yourself to go as heavy as you can. We're going to complete 5-minute long exercise sequences, and we don't rest during those 5 minutes. We go one move to the next. We'll focus on the right side of your body, then the left side of your body, right side of your body, left side of your body. In between those 5-minute chunks, we will rest and recover. I'm going to give you a preview of all the exercises before we get going. Your best way to modify during these is just going to be to use lighter weights, okay? So maybe you have 2 sets on hand, a really heavy one that's challenging, and then a drop set in case it gets to be too much. You can tone it down a notch. As with all workouts, you want to make sure you're properly warmed up beforehand and always listen to your body, modifying or stopping as needed. I'm not going to play music in the background because I want you to be able to listen to whatever you like, so you might want to get a playlist going. And with all that said, let's get to the preview. The first 3 exercises in this circuit are going to focus on the same side of our body. So I want you to grab the weight in your left hand, but the focus is going to be the right side obliques. We're going to start with standing side bends. So you're going to dip down to the left, bringing that weight down towards your knee, and then we're going to crunch up and bring that right elbow towards our right hip. So the weight is on the left side, but I want you to focus on the contraction on the right side. So you're getting low, 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 and then contract, crunch, bring that right elbow down towards your hip. So I want you to challenge how low you get on this. Really try to reach that weight as close towards your knee as joint mobility allows, and then nice big crunch to the top. It can be helpful to sync this up with your breath. So you would inhale as you lower, and then you would exhale on the contraction as you drive that right elbow towards your right hip. "15 more seconds to go here. For the next exercise, you're going to keep the weight in your same hand. We're going to go into windmills. Okay, now I want you to point your left toes out to the side. Your right toes are still pointing forwards, and I want a slightly wider stance than we just had for the side bends. From here, you're going to kind of pop your hip to the right. Think of the bend and snap in Legally Blonde. That's the best way I can describe it. As you slide the weight down towards the inside of that left foot. Now I want you to look up at your top hand. So same deal. Weight is on the left side, but I want you to focus on the right side, contracting and pulling you back upright. You have 15 seconds to go here. Coming up next, we are going to switch which hand the weight is in, and we are going to come down to our step bench.
So we're going to bring our left forearm to the bench. Right hand has the weight. You're in a plank position. It's going to be a row with that right arm and then a crunch, right knee to right elbow. So right arm rows and then right knee crunch in towards right elbow for that reptile crunch. You want your hips to stay right around shoulder height as you do this. Now, when you do the row, if you notice your hips dipping to one side, I want you to separate your feet a little wider than normal plank position. So you'll notice my feet are wider than hips width here. That's going to give me a sturdy base so that I can keep my hips parallel to the floor as I do that row. So it's upper body working here, but I want you to think of bracing through the core. Knit those ribs together. Coming up at the beeps, we are going to be ditching the weight, and we are going to stay in the same position though, pretty much. We're going to come into up and over push-ups. So place the weight away. You're going to do an uneven push-up, one hand on the bench, one hand on the floor, and then walk your hands up and over to the other side. Give me a push-up that side. We're only here for 30 seconds, okay? The other three were 60 seconds. This is a quick one. Final few seconds here. We are going to knead the weight again. We are going to come into weighted sit-ups. Okay, so I want one of the weights between your feet like an anchor, and the other heavy weight is going to go on your chest. I like to cross my hands to kind of really glue that weight to my chest. This is key here with the sit-ups, okay? If you hold the weight in front of your chest, it's actually going to help you because you're going to use it as leverage to sit up. This is going to be challenging if you keep the weight touching your chest, okay? I want it right against you. Squeeze the weight with your feet. It's going to lock yourself into place. You're getting low as you can, and then you're going to sit up. So I want it measured on the way down, slower on the way down, controlled, and then I want a quicker sit up to the top. I want you to keep your spine long, which means your neck is long. So chin off of chest. 15 seconds to go here. So I want you going low, but never so low that you're arching your back and puffing out through the rib cage, okay? So knit those ribs in, draw the navel in towards the spine, low abs draw up and in. Ditch the weight. We are going into a hollow hold. So same position, keep the weight between your feet, just no weight at your chest. I want you to get as low as you can, and we're going to reach the arms overhead, biceps by the ears, chin off of chest, long spine. Knit those ribs together. Now, if these get to be too much, instead of sitting up, I just want you to lower the arms, okay? If you reach your arms forward, that's going to be a little easier. Arms overhead, a little harder. Make sure you're breathing. We hold the position, not our breath. Last few seconds. Stay with it, guys. You get 30 seconds to rest at the beeps. And rest. 30 seconds here, and then we're just going to repeat that, but we will start on the left side when we do those first three weighted moves. All right, let's start to get ready for round two. This time the weight is going to be in your right hand. Weight in the right hand, focus left side obliques, standing side bends. You're here for 60 seconds. So we're lowering down towards the right. Again, you want to get that weight as close to the outside of your right knee as you can. And then you're going to contract up. Again, try syncing this with your breath. Inhaling as you lower, exhaling as during the contraction as you crunch that left elbow towards your left hip. Now, anytime we do standing core or upper body work, I want you to make sure that you're not locking out through your knees. When we lock out through the knees, we tend to tilt the pelvic bone forward and dump into the low back. I don't want that. So soft bend to the knees. It's like an invisible little micro bend. And then we're holding in tight through the core. Low abs draw up and in, neutral through the pelvic bone. In 10 seconds, you keep the weight in this hand. We're going to take it into those windmills. All right, widen your stance a little bit. Right toes point to the right. Left toes still point forward. Left arm reaches to the ceiling. Right arm has the weight, and you are slowly, with control, bringing that weight down towards the inside of the right ankle, and then using the left side obliques to contract and bring you back upright. Looking up at your hand, at that left hand, is going to help with balance a little bit. We especially want to do that when we have a weight in the top hand. Since we don't have a weight in the top arm, it's not as important, but it's just going to help you feel more stable. Remember, as you lower, think of kind of popping that left hip towards the left. Coming up in a few seconds, we are going to make our way down into that forearm plank position for that row to crunch. Okay, so now switch the weight to your left hand. Right forearm comes on the stepper. Step back into the plank. And in this position, you're going to do a row on the left. So left arm rows and then left knee crunches to left elbow. Remember, I want your hips to be stable and level to the floor. So if you find that you are lifting up that left hip when you do the row, I want you to separate your feet a little wider. Also, if that hip is still lifting, you're probably not bracing through the core enough. So I want you to picture your rib cage as like a corset, drawing everything in. Your lower abs are engaged as well. So picture your hip bones are squeezing in towards each other. You have about 10 seconds to go here, and then we're going to ditch that weight, and we're going to come into that 30-second round of up and over uneven push-ups. All right, place the weight to the side. Find that uneven plank position, one hand on the step bench. Give me a push-up, and you're walking those hands up and over to the other side. One push-up on that side. As you do these push-ups, make sure you're not sticking your butt up into the air. I noticed I was kind of doing that on the first side. I'm doing a little better on this side. But think hips and shoulders are kind of at the same level as you do these. Okay, grab that weight. One weight goes between your feet for an anchor. Other weight you're gluing to your chest. If this is too heavy, this might be one that you want to take a drop set or a lighter weight against your chest. I would rather you go lighter with the weight and keep it glued to your chest than to keep the heavy weight, but to lift it away from your chest. Remember, lifting it away from your chest is going to make these easier because then you can use the weight to counterbalance yourself. We don't want that, okay? Lowering down, crunch up. And again, I want slow, measured control on the way down and then contract, sit up. So if you are syncing this with your breath, it would be inhaling as you lower. Exhale on the contraction as you sit up. Final few seconds here. We have one more 30-second move to go. You're going to ditch the weight for that hollow hold. Keep the weight between your feet. Get nice and low with the torso. And then reach your arms overhead, biceps by the ears. If arms overhead is too much, I want you to reach the arms forward. Now, how low you are, it's going to be different for everyone, right? As long as your shoulders are further back than your hips, I'm happy. So long through the spine, chin off of chest. Make sure you're breathing. Button those bottom two ribs together. Low abs drawing up and in. And rest. Okay, I'm going to give you a full 60 seconds to rest here. And then we are going to do that one more time. Okay, you still have a good 30 seconds to recover. I want you to think back on the first time through this. How did the weight feel? If you think you could go a little heavier, I want you to grab a heavier weight. If it was a little too much, maybe you go down. We just want to make sure that we're really challenging ourselves with this, okay? So adjust weight as needed, and let's get ready. Second time through this circuit. You're going to grab the weight in your left hand, and we're going to start with standing side bends. So weight in the left hand focuses the right side obliques, and let's go. You're dipping down to the side, reaching that weight towards the outside of your knee, and then crunching up, contracting, bringing the right elbow towards that right hip. Sorry, my voice is a little raspy today. Hopefully it is not as bad as it sounds in my head. I've been struggling all week. Fitness instructor problems. Voice is always the first thing to go. All right, now remember, your breath can help you out on these. So you would inhale as you reach the weight down. You would exhale as you crunch up and contract. And let's do that little form check. Make sure that there is a little invisible softness to your knees. We're not locking out. Core is engaged, so of course your obliques are working here, but I want you to make sure that you are not tilting the pelvic bone forward. So draw up and in through the low abs. Last few seconds here, we're going to take this right into windmills. You keep the weight in your left hand. Separate your feet a little wider. Left toes are going to point to the left. Right toes still point forward. Right arm towards the ceiling. Left hand reaches down towards the inside of that left ankle, and you come back up to the top. Now, if holding your right arm overhead like this is causing your right shoulder to fatigue and kind of burn out, and it gets to be too much, you could always bend that top elbow and just bring the hand by your ear, or you could even place the hand on your hip if that helps. Usually when we do windmills with 2 weights, of course, that wouldn't be an option. You'd want to keep that weight pointing up towards the ceiling, but we have a little more flexibility here since we are just using that bottom weight here and going extra heavy. Few more seconds to go, and then we are going to come down to that forearm plank position. Okay, weight in the right hand. So left forearm on the stepper. Left forearm, stepper, right hand has the weight on the floor. Keep doing that with my mat. Going to be a row on the right, and then crunch your right knee to your right elbow. 1 row, 1 crunch. So notice when I do the row, my hips aren't moving. I'm keeping them steady and parallel to the floor. I'm doing that by bracing through my core. So make sure that abs are active here. Knit those ribs together. If you need to modify these, you can, of course, just use a lighter weight. But if you need to come out of the plank, you could always just come to tabletop position instead, and you would just eliminate that crunch. If the row is the issue, eliminate the row. Just do the crunch. Okay, now ditch the weight. We're coming into those uneven up and over push-ups. So come to both hands. One hand is on the stepper at a time, up and over. Just 30 seconds here, so you're already halfway through. If these get to be too much, just give me regular modified push-ups, hands on the floor, knees on the floor. Coming into weighted sit-ups, so you're going to need both weights. One weight goes between your feet. The other weight is going to come to your chest. And again, the key to this, I want that weight glued to your chest. That is what is going to make this extra challenging. If this is not hard, you need to go up in weights, okay? Every rep should be a challenge, especially now that we're on the 3rd time through these. And remember, yes, I want you getting low, but not so low that you flex your back and puff out through the rib cage, you only have one, creating an arch, okay? So button those bottom 2 ribs together. Low abs are drawing up and in. You're long through the spine. We're holding the weight to our chest, but we're thinking about keeping our chest open. So we kind of slide our shoulder blades together and down our back. Few more seconds to go here. One last little finisher. Get ready to ditch that weight. Keep the weight between your feet. Ditch the other one. Hollow body hold. I want you to get as low as you can. Chin off of chest, long spine. Roll those shoulder blades down your back so that your chest stays open, and then reach those arms up overhead. Okay, to modify, lower the arms. And then if you need to make it a little easier, you just come up a little bit through the torso. But I want those shoulders further back than your hips the whole time. You have just a few seconds to go. Make sure you're breathing through this. You got this. Okay, 30 seconds to rest here. We're going through that one final time. We will switch the focus over to the left side obliques this final time through. Okay, let's start preparing ourselves for this final round. Feet about hips width apart, maybe an inch or two wider, that's it. And we're going in those standing side bends. The weight is in your right hand. The focus is that left side contraction. Dipping to the side, crunching up. Now, as we start to tire in these, we tend to not dip as low. So I want you to notice where along your leg is that weight coming. I want it to go just as low as it was the first round, okay? So challenge yourself down. You want kind of right around the outside of the kneecap. Maybe not that low, that's fine. That's just kind of your visual, reaching towards the knee, and then big contraction on that left side body as you come up. 20 seconds to go. We have the final round of windmills coming up. So I want you to point the right toes to the right, left toes still point forward, widen your stance a little bit. Your legs are both pretty straight, but that right knee is going to have a soft bend to it. I don't want them completely locked out. Again, look up at that top hand. That is going to help you with stability and balance. As you lower, you're thinking of popping that left hip towards the left. And we're really getting low on these. So that hand is reaching down as close towards the ankle as mobility allows. Exhale, contract, stand. All right, now switch which hand has the weight. So the weight is going to go into your left hand. Your right forearm comes to the stepper. We find that plank position, row on the left, crunch on the left. So left elbow draws to the ceiling, then left knee towards left elbow. When you do the crunch, I want you to think about getting that knee as close to touching the arm as you can. If possible, I want you to make physical contact. If you're only crunching the knee in to like around your hips, we're not contracting through the side body as much as we could be, okay? So I want you to think, really pull that knee forward. Can you touch the arm? And remember those modification options. If you need to take out the row, just give me the crunch. Opposite is true as well. If the crunch is too much, maybe you just do a row. You can always drop down and wait. Okay, place the weight to the side, up and over uneven push-ups. Last time you were going to see these today. Maybe you try to pick up the pace a little bit if you're feeling strong. If these are too much, modification, just regular modified push-ups, okay? That means both hands would be on the floor. Your knees would also be on the floor, and you would give me some push-ups from there. You have under 10 seconds. Let's go. Last weighted move of the day, we have those sit-ups, 60 seconds. Bring one weight between your feet, other weight glued to your chest. If it's too heavy with the weight glued to your chest, just drop down and wait, okay? I would rather you do that than hold the weight in front of you. Squeeze the weight with your feet, lower down, sit up. And again, it's a slow, controlled lower, and then a little more power on the way up. So think like a 3-4 count on the way down. Exhale, sit up. Under 20 seconds to go here. Give me at least 2 more quality reps. At the beeps, get ready to ditch that weight. Keep the one between your feet, ditch the one at your chest, get nice and low, challenge yourself. Maybe you go 1 inch lower than you did the first time. And then from here, arms reach overhead, biceps by the ears. Now, if you've done the last 3 sets of these with your arms reaching forward, you have under 15 seconds to go. Let's all try to reach our arms overhead. You can do it. You can do it with bent elbows if you need, but I want those arms overhead. You got it. Chin off of chest. Make sure you're breathing. 5 seconds. Hang on to it. And done.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that workout. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I will see you here next Monday.